Max, if we have enough time, could you tell us a little bit about what you remember about the uprising?
It really started in 1942, whereby they started taking out about 5,000 or so people and sending them to the camps. And everybody became fair game out of the ghetto. The youth really, like myself, became the backbone of the ghetto. And we would try to assume responsibility for the people that could not or would not do it because they were heads of the family and religious people. So some of the youth, after they saw what was happening in Treblinka and Majdanek, the two places that the people from Warsaw were being taken to, they escaped to the ghetto and warned the underground, both the Polish and the underground. So instead of smuggling in just food, usually dehydrated, we started bringing in weapons, not too many, because you have to realize that if a Gentile would deal with a Jew or be caught helping them, he would be on the next car or he would be placed in the ghetto. And he wouldn't be placed in the ghetto, he'll be shot. So a lot of people informed on each other that they were helping the Jews, but we were able to get some weaponry and some materials that could be converted in the ghetto. Now it started on April the 19th when there was a build-up outside the ghetto, and by that time we moved 3 times. By that time I lived on Plac Muranowski, and if you saw the streetcar, it had Muranowska and Leszno. My father's newspaper was on Leszno. We were next door to the headquarters on the underground without knowing it. But anyways, they came into our apartment, and I saw the first shot done from our apartment on the 4th floor on Muranowska Square. But the way it was not in one spot, but it was in many places, in squads of kids, 15 to 25, 18 to 25, and simultaneously they started the fight. But what was little known, that Hitler's birthday was on the 20th. And what I remember, there was a General Stropp that was in charge of the Warsaw Ghetto fighting. And when he saw what was happening, every time the Germans tried to come in, they would be stopped, even with the tanks and all that, with Molotov cocktails and other means. So the only way he could stop it was around May 16th of that year, of 1943, by burning the ghetto with flamethrowers, bringing in a whole company of flamethrowers. And we were actually hiding in the basements because all the above ground temporary hiding places were destroyed by the fire. And the fire was heat like you wouldn't believe. People were blistering and the oxygen became short. Some of the basements became gravesides. Then after that, sometimes by informants or by listening devices and dogs, when they heard something, then they came through in a hand grenade to either create an opening where they could take you out, or they could just finish you up. That's how we were discovered and then searched. And then disrobed, like you saw in the picture, and searched in crevices of our body, and how do you say it, unisexually, you know, and there were many humiliations because the wall was in the middle, on the other side was the Aryan side, and people could look in and see what was happening, and you saw some smiling faces maybe, or some of the people drawing the drapes up and all that. But most of the time, if you wanted to survive, you were in the basement. So what I can tell you is that We were helping the underground to do it by smuggling in. And the first night when I saw the first shot, I would supply, maybe bring some bullets to the window, water, but they wouldn't let me do anything else. And then they told me, get down, because the artillery started shooting at all the buildings that were still remaining. I hope that gives you a little bit of picture.
Thank you.
We only have time for one more
Yeah.
question.
Do you think that in the world right now, do you think maybe anytime later there will be peace, just in general?
What I can tell you is this. One-on-one, we are angels. A group of us can become a lynch mob. Would that answer your question? I think we can have peace if we all become one-on-one. You can negotiate with somebody, and if the people that he represents don't want to honor his negotiation, what do you have? Turmoil.
All right, well, thank you, Max, for coming. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for being vigilant, going wherever you go.
And I'll repeat again, watch out for the bullies, become an upstander instead of a bystander, and please join the Holocaust Museum and also join the group here that brought you the picture, because we're all working for one effort to be able to answer his question. Yes, we will have peace sometimes in the world if we behave ourselves.
Also, you should know that Max has produced a film about his life where he goes into detail about it, and he can tell you more about that when you talk to him afterwards. But it's a really wonderful production.
It will be available in the Holocaust Museum and at a fair price.
Thank you. Before we leave, I want to bring down the folks who came from Texarkana. They have something to give to you, Max.
These are our future leaders, and believe me, if they have anything to say, we will have peace. Well, you look like a nice, bright young man, and maybe you will lead us to peace.
Somebody want to speak for the group?
We all put our fingerprints on this to say, or it's our signature that we saw him, and it says we are your witness inside, so.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You know, I didn't bring it in, but the reaction between me and the young people after I do some of that speaking is we kind of bond, and they see that some of us still possess a little bit of goodness. But I was in Auschwitz-Birkenau 2 years ago, and we marched from Auschwitz to Birkenau, and a young lady came over to me and handed a rock to me. And on the rock, on one side, was glued on little stones resembling the Star of David, and on the back she wrote a little poem to me and signed it. And I cherish it everywhere I go, and it was done with glue. So I went to a ceramic place and I said, would you check the glue in that? Because she was in the wilderness with nothing there. And the lady says, this lasts for the next 100 years. It never come off. And I don't, to this day, I don't know where she got the glue, unless it was something that she just carried with her. Thank you very much. And I am really dumbfounded that you came all the way from Texarkana to listen to me, and I really appreciate it. And it shows your character and what kind of people you are, and I hope that you become the future generation that will lead us to peace. And thank you very much.
The teachers with vision.
Yes, and I'm tearing up you speaking all.
Max, thank you so much.
You will.